Welcome to the Sewalong for our Maret tunic. It's an incredibly easy pattern and it's great for beginners. All you need is the fabric, and you'll probably need about a meter or a yard of fabric. The suggested type of fabric for this sewing pattern is a soft, light woven fabric. So you're looking at something like a chiffon, which is what I've used. And of course our sewing pattern, which you should download and print, and you can watch the video on how to assemble your sewing patterns on patreon.com/BulaHeart. And to finish off, the only other item you will need is some bias tape to match your fabric. I've chosen black to go with this beautiful printed chiffon. If you like to make your own bias, you're welcome to. You'll need about a meter or a yard of bias tape, and you'll see on our website www.nonstopcraft.com we actually have a pretty cool kit that helps you to make your own bias tape easily and without the hassle of trying to pin and press everything and make the fabric behave. So check it out. And for our followers who are following us on patreon.com/BulaHeart, have a look in the comment section. We've left you a little gift. If you want to buy the bias tape making kit, there is a coupon code there for you for a discount off. So have a look at that. And of course, if you are watching on Patreon as well, the sewing pattern comes free. It's attached with the Sewalong. If not, if you're watching through one of our other channels, have a look on our website at nonstopcraft.com where you can purchase the pattern through there. Okay, so let's get started. As I said, it's a very easy pattern. The first thing you would need to do, well, besides cutting out, and as you can see, it's just going to cut out the front section on the fold, and the back section you're going to cut two of the fabric. So we're going to start with the back. And what we're going to do is, with the right sides of the fabric facing, we're just going to pin, make sure it's pinned neatly together. Then we're going to sew it closed using a standard seam allowance, and we are going to press it and serge or overlock it to neaten it off. And you can use this Sewalong for both the Maret tunic top and the Maret tunic dress. And there you go. As you will see, I have sewn that seam and I've neatly serged it together after pressing it. Now you're going to take the back and front sections, and you're going to be joining them together. Right sides of the fabric facing. So you'll see there's a marking on the shoulder for the sleeve openings, because you're literally only going to be closing the sleeve from the neckline to that marking. So now you're going to pin the whole shoulder together from the neckline to the cuff of your sleeve. So once you have pinned this whole shoulder seam together, when you stitch, you're literally going to be stitching from the neckline to this marking as a standard stitch. Once you've done that, from this marking to the cuff of the sleeve, you're going to be doing a temporary basting stitch, keeping the same standard seam allowance, and you're going to do that for both sides. And especially when you're working with chiffon and fabrics that love to move out of shape, this is one of those patterns where it's ideal that you sew in the same direction, meaning that on both sides you sew from the neckline to the end of the sleeves, and not one from the end of the sleeve to the neckline and the other from the neckline to the end of the sleeve. Otherwise it can pull your garment out of shape. So make sure you are sewing in the same direction. Great, then once you've done that, you're going to press it open and overlock it. But you're not going to overlock it like we've done the centre back, where we've overlocked it together. You're going to overlock the two sides of the seam separately, and you're going to make sure it's pressed very neatly flat. So your completed seam is going to look a little something like this. So what you're going to do now is grab your seam ripper and remove that basting. What I do when I press seams like this, I always use starch, so that it's starch, especially with fussy fabrics like chiffon, and that makes sure that it keeps its place and that it stays in the shape it needs to be while I continue working with it. So I've starched this quite a lot to make sure that the seam is going to keep its shape. So what I'm going to do now is grab my handy seam ripper and just remove that temporary basting stitch. And there you have it. Your seam is now open. So I've already done it on the other side. So what I've done is about 3/8 of an inch or 1 centimeter from the edge of the seam, from the shoulder to the sleeve cuff, I've sewn that seam flat. I've done it on both sides. I've sewn it flat. And then to finish it off, what I've done is at the top of the seam opening, across the seam. See if you can see that. Across the seam there, I've sewn a double row of stitching just to give that extra strength. And there you go, your shoulder seam is complete. So the next step, you're going to be closing your side seams. So make sure it's inside out, right sides of fabric facing. Line up your side seams and then stitch them together with the standard seam allowance from the hip all the way to the edge of the sleeve. So pin it together and then just sew it with the standard seam allowance. You can clip it in the seam here where it's curved to allow it to sit more neatly. And then once you've done it, press open your seam and serge or overlock it to finish it off. Great, now you will see that your tunic or your dress is coming along quite nicely. The next thing to do is to add the bias binding to the neckline. Now, for those of you who have the foot for your sewing machine, it's much easier. If not, you've got to pin this on and then feed it through your machine carefully. Otherwise, if you look at that kit that I mentioned earlier, that we have a discount coupon there for our Patreon fans, you will see that it includes not only the tools to make the tape itself, but it includes the foot, the snap-on foot for your sewing machine as well. So start by attaching at the center back and just pin it all the way around your neckline. But if you have a presser foot, you can literally put your fabric and your bias in the foot and start doing this straight away without having to pin it into place. It does make life a little bit easier. But if you don't, pin it into place, make sure everything's lined up as neatly as possible, and then stitch that bias binding into place. There we go, I've attached the bias binding to the neckline. Once I'd attached it, because this is a V-neck, you would see it's a little bit larger in the center of the neckline here. So all you do is fold it inwards, pin it into place, and then with needle and thread, just catch it so that it stays there in its natural V shape. Okay, now to finish off the arms, what we're going to be doing is along the cuff, you fold the fabric inwards by 5 millimeters, you press it flat, and then you stitch it into place. And that's 5 millimeters or 1/8 of an inch. Then you fold it over a second time, press it flat again, and then stitch that into place again. And that's how you finish off the cuffs of the sleeves. And for the hem of the blouse or the dress itself, we'll be doing the same thing. We'll be folding it over by 5 millimeters, pressing it flat and stitching it into place. Fold it over again by 5 millimeters or 1/8 of an inch, press it flat and stitch it into place. If you're using something like a chiffon, as I am, you can also use your rolled hem foot and give it a nice finished rolled hem edging. And then once you've done that, you'll see your Maret tunic is ready. And there you have it, your Maret tunic is complete and ready to wear. Remember, you can use the sew-along for the Maret tunic dress as well. And feel free to share your creations with us on Instagram @BulaHeart. Until our next sew-along, happy sewing!